Hi everyone, it's me Lydia. Hopefully this is the last time I record this. I've had to edit this quite a few times, but this is Lydia for A&L Hot Topics, my first episode. It is my first video podcast. So yay! I just wanted to say thank you for those of you that have tuned in or that have joined my Facebook page, and for those of you that have said congratulations. I know that there's only been a handful of you, but that's how we grow. It's just one person at a time. So I'm going to first ask you all that once I, get started. Actually, I'm already started. I'm on YouTube. I'm going to ask you to subscribe, like, and share my videos. And I will share the link for my YouTube channel at the top of my profile. That's where it will be. So if you could just go there at the end of this and just, subscribe, like, and share. And then you'll find me on Facebook. And I'm going to try to see if I can get myself on Twitter. Okay? 'Cause I say that because they don't like people telling the truth on Twitter. Okay? So anyway, we're going to start with Liberation Day, aka Tariff Day. And I'm going to let you know that for my podcast, my video podcast, this is going to be more of an educational place where you learn about what things really mean. And then I'm going to, of course, weigh in on my opinion and what I think. And so let's start with liberation, the word liberation, what it really means. It is the act or process of freeing someone or something from another's control. It's the act of liberating someone or something. It is the act of or process of freeing someone or something from another's control. I wanna break that down because outside of the tariffs, we have something going on right now with people being deported, and there are a lot of people that should not be deported because they have their papers, but because they're being shut off from having their paperwork or whatever it is, they're having all these things taken away from them, and they're being ripped away from their families. And a lot of these people are legally here. Okay, so that's interesting that he's calling the tariffs Liberation Day when it's actually the opposite of that. It is taxation on our everyday goods, cars, foods, different things like that, just different things that I can't even tell you all the things because the truth of the matter is there are so many things that are going to be affected by this that I don't think that I can even keep up. I'm not here as a journalist to try to keep up with all the facts. I'm simply here to educate you on the things that are happening as far as what they mean and what they mean for us, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to keep it kind of just a simple, here's the information, here's what you need to know. Okay? And if you see me again looking this way, I'm reading from my laptop. And if you see me looking this way, I'm grabbing my water. So here we go. We're going to get right into it. All right. So liberation is what that means. Okay. So therefore, how does it mean? How does it make any sense to impose these tariffs on a lot of countries that have been very, very peaceful, that have never had any, bad blood with the United States? I think that's crazy. So what are tariffs? Simply put, tariffs are taxes imposed on imported goods and services. Trump's administration has imposed a 25% tariff on cars and trucks, with additional tariffs on auto parts and other goods. Now, that is a very generic description. That's a very generic definition. And the reason why I want to say that is because when you think of auto parts, right, it's anywhere from the engine to the little to the battery to the little pieces of things that we don't even really pay attention to. But it is everything that goes into an F-150, a Mercedes, a Toyota, and every single car is manufactured. The parts are manufactured differently, obviously, because each car is made differently. So when we really break down, like if I read that real quick, it's like, oh, okay, that doesn't. It's gonna be crazy because what that means is every time think of it this way: when you bring a car in for service, that place that fixes your cars, they have to order the parts, or you go to an auto parts store, right? So now these 25% tariffs are causing the imports for all these parts to be higher. So let's just put it this way: if I go right now to get a battery for my car, I'm expecting to pay probably a little bit less than $100 for the part. Well, now I can expect to pay maybe close to $200 for that part. And I'm guessing that that's what it's going to be, because if he's putting 25% tariffs on just the imports alone, they've got to increase their prices to match those tariffs. So it's a lot more complicated than that. And I'm not an expert in tariffs. I'm just giving you the breakdown of what I think it's going to be. So it's like, just look at everything that we're paying right now and just double it. Okay? And just think, okay, you know what I mean? Like, basically, that's what it's going to be. So, and again, I'm not an expert on tariffs, so please, I'm just trying to give you an understanding that this is not a good thing. And so I wanted to go down and just kind of like read a little more about the metal industries. Tariffs on aluminum and steel have already caused dislocations in global supply chains, affecting industries like construction and manufacturing. So when I think of that, I think of, okay, so everyday construction worker that comes to work on someone's house, now what would have cost you, I'm just going to be modest, $5,000 for a brand new kitchen, from Bell's, that's Bells and Whistles cabinets and all that stuff, is now going to be maybe close to $8,000 to $10,000, and it might not be that fancy of a kitchen. And I'm telling you, like, right now, people are saying if they have the money, maybe it's not affecting you as much. But for people that are hardworking like us, middle class people that, like, you know, don't really have the money to throw around, this is going to hurt everyone. And it's going to hurt us in a major way. And I don't know if I'm being modest in the amounts that I'm giving out here, but I just wanted to give you an understanding that everything is changing as we speak, okay? And if you see my lighting change, I'm sitting in front of my window and I have the light on over here. I did my own lighting. I will get better at this, I promise. Okay, so then I just wanted to go down a little bit and talk about agriculture. Trump's tariffs may also impact American farmers. Well, this was written a few weeks ago, so it's definitely affecting the farmers. I've seen videos on YouTube. I keep up to date with what's going on in the world every single day through YouTube, New York Times, so on and so forth. And farmers are already affected by this. Okay, they've been affected for the last several weeks from things before the tariff started. So anyway, as countries like China could impose retaliatory tariffs, this is going to hurt big time. Okay, so these tariffs could have far-reaching consequences, from job losses to increased prices for everyday goods. As far as job loss goes, well, they've fired half of the federal workers. DEI, for those companies around the world that have either fallen silent, that we don't hear about, or whatever, people are being fired because of the fact that they look like me. And so because it's not in the news or reported as much, doesn't mean that it's not happening. But then there are companies that are saying, screw you, Trump, I don't care, you know, but I'm just saying, like, so with that alone, and then you're talking about tariffs on, you know, these places that are already struggling, right? So we're going to definitely see a decrease in jobs, because people won't be able to afford to keep their lights on, let alone pay someone a paycheck. So I just wanted to say, you know, how I feel about things. I think, and I've been saying this to my husband for the last month and a half, I think I'm just now starting to feel like, you know, okay, now is a good time to do the podcast and talk about things, because quite frankly, I was in a sort of like a fog. I don't know if any of you were in a fog, but, you know, that's kind of where I've been. So we're going to get to the next part of this, which is talking about the actual reciprocal tariff rate. I have a chart here, and I'm going to read right from that chart. I'm going to actually share it on my screen as well. So, okay, so let's get to it. There is a chart, and I'm just going to read right down the chart. Excuse the glare from my glasses, but I'm going to get started. Okay, so we're talking about China. You know what? I think I said that they weren't imposing a tariff on China, but it looks like, according to the chart, that was wrong. But I do not see Russia on here. So, and when I say they say, this was a news report that said that China would not be affected. Oh, you know what? It was Korea. And I apologize for that misinformation. It was Korea. So here I am correcting that, and I apologize. Okay? So, China, tariff rate against the U.S. is 67%. The reciprocal tariff rate from us to China is 104%. So this 25%, whatever it was that they were talking about, do you see what I'm saying when I was talking about things going up and I was being modest? Do you see what I mean now? Okay? Just had to fix my camera. I'm doing this myself, people. I'm doing this myself. But do you understand what I'm saying? No? This is an educational component of what I'm bringing to the table. I'm letting you know exactly. There are people that are right now, you see this stuff going up on the screen on TV, but you're not reading it. So I just want to read this to you. And I know you're not, because you're busy just like I am. You are living your life. You have your children running around. You have your dogs running around. You're like, what is going on? So here I am. I'm here to tell you this is what's happening. European Union, 39% against us, against the U.S., and 20% towards them. So what they've doubled it. What they've said is, okay, here's you give us 20%, here's your 39%. Europe, peaceful Europe is mad. That's like an FU, okay? Vietnam, like what are we doing here, people? 90% against the U.S. Because you know what? Vietnam already knows how valuable our money is, and so why not take it? I mean, come on. Although, I shouldn't say that too quickly, because our money might not mean anything because of the way the stock markets are crumbling right now, so never mind. And so then you have the 46% reciprocal from us to them. I'm going to take a sip of my water. Sorry, I have a sinus thing, and I will tell you, my mouth starts to feel like paper, so I have to do that. Excuse me. Taiwan, 64% towards the U.S., 32% from us. Japan, 46% to the U.S., 24% from us to them. India, 52% against the U.S., 26% from us to them. South Korea. Just want to make sure I'm going down the list right. Yep, South Korea. 50% to us, 25% to them. Thailand. 72% to us, 36% to them. Switzerland. 61% to us, 31% to them. Indonesia. 64% to us, 32% to them. I'm going to stop real quick right here because I'm getting tired of reading, but I'm going to keep going. Right now, that was, just so we know, that was Indonesia. 64% and then 31% to them. I wanted to say something. You know, a lot of people might be, as I'm reading this, might be saying, oh, but look, they're charging us double. Listen to what I'm about to say. These people would not be doing reciprocal tariffs if Trump didn't start the tariff war. I'm telling you, this is saying what could happen is he could say, you know what, let's just start all over again and figure this out, and they could come to a peaceful exchange. But he's not going to do that. So they know that, and because he's not going to do that, they're basically giving the U.S. the finger. Okay, so let's make it clear, Trump started it. Okay. So anyway, that was Indonesia. 64% again, and I'm repeating myself, and 32% to us. So I wanted to make sure that I was on the right, 32% from us, I want to make sure I was on the right line. Malaysia, 47% to us, 24% to them. Cambodia, 97% to us, 49% to them. UK, 10% and 10%. South Africa, 60% and 30%. Brazil, 10% and 10%. Bangladesh, 74% and 37%. Singapore, 10% and 10%. Israel, 33% and 17%. Philippines, 34% and 17%. Now, I cannot tell you all the things that we get from all these countries. You know, whether it's minerals, rare metals, precious metals, whatever it is, we get things from them. I know we get from China. We get different parts for our cars because that's something that is world known. Okay, so there you go. And China was, if I go back to that, they're at 67% to us and 104%. Basically, he's saying, screw you, China. I just want to say something, though. You know, with all this being said, right, all these tariffs, so what that basically is, if you just want to look at it from a simple standpoint, so that's where I try to keep things. That's us being billed. That's the U.S. being billed. You want our stuff, you pay this tariff. So you may say, oh, some of them are only 10%. Well, some of them we might not do business as much with, right? But the ones that we really do, they're high. And the thing of it is what it's how can I put this? It is Trump running the country like a business, and all of his businesses have failed because he never wants to say, ooh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I should sit down and listen. Maybe I should learn how to negotiate, because negotiating is not me saying, this is how it's going to be. That's not a negotiation. That is the opposite of that. That is definitely what we're seeing here is because of this, dictatorship style approach, authoritarian style approach. This is what happens because he's saying not only will, and I'm going to tell you the truth. This is the truth according to what we're seeing, according to the administration that doesn't seem to be standing up for anyone but them, not even themselves. You have a Republican Senate that won't even stand up for themselves. There are people that are in the Senate whose parents, grandparents might be affected by the things that are going on in this world, and they don't care. So you have that. You have a president that doesn't care, and so therefore, the rest of the world is saying we don't care. That's exactly what's happening. So I wanted to break this down for you guys, and the facts are all over the web. You can find that chart on the web. It is if you want to know how to find it, go to Google and put in reciprocal tariff rate chart. Reciprocal tariff, TARIFF rate chart. And don't laugh because I didn't know how to spell that a few weeks ago. I was like, it's tariff? Is it with 2 R's or is it with 2 F's? But now I know. Okay, I never had to look up that word. I never had to worry about it before. This is not a other country problem. This is a worldwide problem right now. This is going to impact us. There is no way to brace yourself for this because we just don't even know what's happening right now. But everyone is being affected. So I wanted to say thank you for joining my first video podcast. I think that's enough for today. Subscribe, like, and share for more because I'm coming back. And I have a lot more to say. But yeah, this is not liberation. This is not freedom. This is the opposite of that. Take care.